Rome did not only build an empire on courage, but also built on debts. We love dreaming of Rome's heroes, honors and disciplines as unreliable warriors, but behind each helmet and behind the sharp gladius, there was a complex and cost-effective supply chain. Thousands of men needed food, weapons, roads, and salary. The diet of horses is required. Today, I'll tell you about the hidden money tricks that the Roman Empire is installed. But before proceeding to your location, do not forget to subscribe to our channel, like our video, and jump like. Wood and labor required for bird weapons, and all of them needed money, both money. So, how did Rome fund their fetes for centuries? And why is still so important today? For the answer to these questions, when you look at the battle machine of Rome, the pattern becomes more pronounced. The battle was not only in the battlefield, it was cooked in a specific way in the foundations of the financial system. This system did not stop on the go. The expansion was not a choice, but an economic obligation. Do we know? Now let's do something interesting, and let's go back a bit at the time. The army of Rome during the early Republic was an army of citizens. Anyone with land could be soldiers. The soldiers brought their own weapons and wanted to return to their farms when the campaign ends. But as the Republic expands, the battles have become both longer and more far. The old structures began to spoil with the dignity. Now you couldn't fight for a year with just one spear. Professional soldiers needed. When Rome started to centralize military funding, the state brought a certain arrangement for soldiers. Although not so much, it was enough to keep them loyal. Then there was a significant development. Fidelier became a self-existing model. Each new city meant new taxes, new slaves, new gold mines, and new praises. This cycle was self-existing. The battle gave more battle financing. But here is an interesting and dangerous situation. Rome has not only been based on taxes, its capacity to borrow. During long or cost-effective conflicts such as Punic Wars performed against Carthage, the Republic provided large public loans from rich elite. This was invested rather than preaching donations. These investors returned through business monopolies in interest payments, tax farming rights, and newly conquered regions. Thus, battle became a profitable business for Rome. With time, this militarized economy turned everything. Political power began to turn to the generals that can be pampered. Senators have become the stakeholders of violence. Special contractors have increased senior wealth by managing all the logistics and tax collection processes of the public. This situation created a military-industrial capitalism in a toga. However, costs began to rise. The soldiers and the receivables had to provide payments, so the state had to constantly find new sources of income. When the Fidelier slows down or drains the riot's treasure, Rome changed its currency by resorting to a historical trick. During the Emperor Nero period, the silver content of denarius began to be silently reduced. During the 2 centuries, the emperors continued this situation. Once the silver money, which is reliable, turned into a thin word that is not supported with nothing, the inflation process started, trust-wrapped. When it came to the 3rd century, the money system of Rome was past free decline. By the way, riches continue to be enriched. Senators and elite groups protect their fortunes with land, slaves, and foreign accounts. While they are crushed under tax and currency load, elites were protected with secure tax exemptions and closed agreements. Public services kept face to crash. Hello? And the financial burden of endless battles left deep effects in sub-class through inflation, business losses, and military spending. This is not only a military collapse, but also a financial collapse. Now let's take a look at the pause period and around us. Governments are drowning with great explanation, battles are funded with debts, central banks silently push money to hide troubles. A financial class is enriched through defense contracts and crises. Expansion, military, financial or market-based economy become the only way to keep the system standing. Of course, it's not an excellent parallel, but it comes to a disturbing way at the DNA level. What Rome teaches us is that an economy based on the foundation of expansion, especially severe expansion, eventually a blow will eat. If you watch here, you will love our video. Then click the liking button to show it to the whole world. By collecting resources, you are looking for escape ways by getting lands or fighting enemies. When this happens, the entire system returns back. Debts remain, expectations take, but the income decreases. This is believed that the state began to compress its own people. Rome returned to heavy taxation, applied more fines and more controls. Bread and circuses were used to water masses. Elites also tried to protect luxury villas. In today's world, we do not respect it. Taxation is called quantitative relaxation or money policy. But mechanisms are extremely similar. The central banks make money. Governments spend more than they earn. Rich make market exchange with poor salary checks when purchasing assets. So there's no changing thing. The layout continues for months since Rome. Still, battles are funded with debt. The US spent $2 trillion to battle in Afghanistan, and most of which were met with debt. So, who buys these contracts? Who benefit from this situation? Who can stop invoices with inflation, reduction services, and uncertain money? You already know the answer. As in Rome, the cycle feeds itself. When the debt becomes a standard situation, there is no urgent need to print money. You just need to avoid collapse, normalize extraordinary situations. And this lasts longer. More, you have to look good as it is not. That's why economic history is important for this. These are not only stories about dust, warning signals. When we look at Rome, a state that more trusts for private financing has been erupted under their own citizens' unworthy obligations. This is not because it is bad, because the system does not pass conversion. Today, we live in a different empire powered by grass streams instead of digital, global, and legal flows, but the game is still the same. Money and power move together. The battle is still profitable. Even if inflation is weak, the financial illusions are punished. What can you do? Start to notice the model, because most people do not do it. Most people see inflation as a random phenomenon. These taxes are only necessary. This means debt freedom. This growth can last forever. But Stoessler had found a word for it: illusion. You cannot completely ignore the system, but you can understand it. You can leave the game to play blindly. You can build your own endurance, not only with money, with mindset. This means reading financial history, not only personal finance. This means you can monitor symptoms of systemic stress, not only the market hypnosis. This means that when I stay in difficult condition, who have received profits. Because you should know it, you need to question how Rome finances battles or how modern state does it. You should focus on the theater, cuffs, GDP, distractions, mechanisms, not incentives. But now you know it. And once you learn, you cannot see it. Financial education is not only about budgets and investments. It is a matter of seeing power, understanding systems, and stability. So the next conflict, a new stimulant. When it comes to a new crisis, just observe. Follow money. Who gives debt? Who wins and finally pays who? Because the date teaches us everything. This is true. Empires are not playing the door of enemies. The math falls in the crash, and no one can dare to fix it. If you have presented you a new perspective, subscribe. Historical answers. I will show you where to see. Thank you for your watch. If you still haven't subscribed to our channel, you can subscribe with the subscriber button at the bottom. Please follow us.